Hey everyone, this is the third video on focus areas. If you haven't already watched it, there is one on PLP 101, which is a total overview, which if this is your first video, I would just go back and watch that one. And then there's one on projects and concept units. This is going to be on focus areas. So focus areas when you're in the yearly view are these bottom three, or actually sometimes there's only two. It depends on whether the subject has challenge focus areas because those are not required. But it'll at least be the power and additional. So these are what is happening during the PLT time. This is what the students are working on mostly independently, and they're also working collaboratively during that time with other students. They can sign up and work at tables together on these focus areas, and of course get help from teachers if needed. But during this time, a lot of this is independent, and this is the same time, this PLT time, this is the same time where the teachers are mentoring their students in their PLT class. So during the PLT time, essentially students are working on focus areas and being mentored. And so I'm going to hop into some of these focus areas. Again, from the PLP 101, power are really kind of the most essential. Additional are extra, but they're definitely grade level content, and we do expect them to do those, and challenge is just extra, above and beyond. So let's go to a completed. Actually, I'm going to go to one that hasn't been completed yet. So this is a focus area that you would, the first time you would go to one, you haven't worked on it at all, this is what it would look like. And in this focus area, we have a description of what that focus area is and a area of key terms. These are basically vocabulary that are important. Over here on the right, it has kind of a breakdown of the objectives and maybe some introductory materials. Not all focus areas have introductory materials, but many of them do. And then as you scroll down, it actually gets into the content. So this one has an introductory materials of graphic organizers. This sometimes in introductory materials will also put like study guides or things that would help with all of the objectives. So this is a graphic organizer that I assume would help with all of these objectives. I say assume because we're not teaching cells. This is actually ninth grade, but this is a demo website. So then it gets into each objective. Objective 1 is the first thing that they want to kind of learn in this, and it's the difference between types of cells. Objective 2 is location, structure, and function of cell, organelles, and so on. And under each objective, there are different resources. So here's a link. These looks like, here we have a PowerPoint, we have interactive models, videos, readings, and check for understandings. Check for understandings are kind of like little mini quizzes that they can take on their own. They might be links to other websites. Yeah, here we go. And or they might be just papers with somehow that the answers are provided for the students so they can see if they're actually understanding the content. We also have diagnostic assessments, and those are assessments that the students can take before the content assessment to get a read on how they're doing. And when a student is completely done with the focus area and they think that they're ready and they know this content, then they're going to request a content assessment. In order to pass the content assessment, they need to get 8 out of 10 on every one. You need 8, 9, or 10. You need 80%. And so they can request this content assessment, and then that has to be approved by their teacher. And we can approve it, and then they can take this focus area test. If they pass, you can see here's like a green one. If they pass, it will say mastered, and it'll say what their score is when they pass it, and then it actually gives a breakdown of each objective, how they did on each objective. So see, they missed one on this objective 1 and 2, and they got 100% on objective 3. And that's helpful because, let me go back to one that they haven't passed yet. So let's see, this, I think this is probably food walls. Oh no, food webs. So this food webs one, they haven't taken it yet. Let me try and find one that has my internet's going crazy. Oh, this doesn't look like they have ones that, oh well. It is a demo website after all. Anyway, if they didn't pass, it would be like that yellow color that's on that previous page, and it will say not yet mastered, and it would say like 6 out of 10 or 7 out of 10, and then down here it'll actually tell, since it tells them what scores they got on each of these, it's really helpful to the students to figure out kind of like what objective do you need to work on. This is the second objective, so maybe you got 2 out of 2, 3 out of 3, 2 out of 2, and 0 out of 3. Well, okay, so you know what all these ones are, but you definitely, you missed out on the identifying and explaining effects of simile. So you need to go back to that kind of objective and check out those resources again. It's helpful to them. So these are a little bit more straightforward. I mean, that's pretty much it. They have this stuff on the right. There's different objectives here, depending on the teacher, and there's going to be a different process for getting those assessments approved and everything. But if you're at home trying to help your student, I mean, that's because maybe they're behind in focus areas or they need to be working a little bit more. That's essentially what you're looking for. You're going to go to a focus area and kind of check out those main areas that they need to work on, and then these are just different types of resources. One thing we always try and encourage the students to do is find out what works best for them, and really try not to stick to just one thing. At the beginning of when students first start, they a lot of times they just default to just taking notes, and they got 10 pages of notes, but they're not really absorbing the information or really thinking about whether that's helpful to them or not. So that's a lot of what we do during the mentoring time, is just try and help them learn how to learn, without us showing them everything step by step, which is good for them, because they, a lot of times, about halfway through the year, a lot of the students have figured out what helps them the best, and instead of taking notes, they're getting together in little groups doing flashcards or making test quizzes for each other or whatever. So that is that for focus areas.